Hey everyone, Tigre here. This is part of my Tech with Tigre, where I share digital tools for life, business, and it goes beyond just being in an office. I like to do stuff outside too. So it's really just using the technology that is all around us and we create as humans. In this episode, I am going to dive into something that's very personal and also an attempt to make lemonade out of lemons. If you've been following me, you understand and know that both my parents have tested positive for COVID-19. And my father is in the ICU on a ventilator currently in a medically induced coma. So at first, my mom was the point person for interfacing with the doctors and nursing staff because she's the closest next of kin, but that was proving to be a lot for her to handle. And I was very happy to be able to step in and use my youth and health to take that load off of her shoulders and be of service, right? We all want to be of service when our loved ones are feeling ill or not doing well. And this was the perfect opportunity for me to step in. Gosh forbid that he does pass away, I become the patriarch of the family at this point, and I hold that title until I hand it off to our son. And I would really not like to not do that. I'd love to be standing side and side, arm in arm and shoulder to shoulder with my dad, alive, healthy. So I'm holding that vibe and that intention. The video I'm going to show you and walk you through here is how I'm using Google Drive to interface with his amazing care and support staff. So I have people from all around the nation and world supporting him through thoughts, prayers, and high vibes. So thank you very much. And I also have some trained medical staff, people who are really close to him and helping immensely become advocates for those of us who are, I'm a graphic designer by trade and architect from school, that I don't know anything about medical, but I am a smart person, so I can learn it. I just need someone to guide me through it. And so those people have been instrumental in getting my father the care he needs, my mom the care she needs, and helping support and advocate in this very unknown world that we're all just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So within that, what we noticed when I took over the information for my dad's meds is that he has an online portal, and the idea around these documents is that you're going to have an online portal. Hopefully, we are in 2020 for what are the daily lab results that they're taking. So when a person is intubated and put on a vent or a ventilator, they are given a cocktail of drugs. They are an IV, they are getting blood draws, they are doing labs every day on your loved one. So the body is going through a lot. So there's a lot of stress, and then there's different things that you want to identify, and I could be totally off base, so please comment below and educate me so I can update this and maybe make another recording and update the documents for people, both for my use and for your use. That these are the things you want to watch out for and help understand what the trends are so that you can then advocate for maybe taking a more risky approach with more experimental drugs. My dad is on a trial with remdesivir, which is hopefully going to help him get through it. It was used for some Ebola patients, and it allows you to also some ease of mind, right? Like when you watch that the C-reactive protein, which kicks up into high gear when you have inflammation in the body, when you see that getting above 7.4 milligrams per liter up into like the 200s, that means your body is fighting in a massive inflammation. And if you can see that starting to go down and down, then you can feel much more at ease and relax and not create your own stress hormones of cortisol in your body, which then leads to your own illness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my camera and we're going to go into these documents. Now I've created them as shareable. You can share the link. Anyone can view them. If you want to make your own copy for, again, gosh forbid, your loved one or someone who you're helping monitor their vitals is in an event with COVID-19 or really any disease, that these documents will really help you kind of stay focused and doing the work. Because what you don't want to get is in this place where you feel helpless, you feel like there is no way that you can do anything. You're in the dark. So in the dark, we're very scared and fearful. What these documents are going to do are going to help kind of guide and calm you and keep you focused on your loved one. So let me flip it around. Let's see, you should be able to see me. You can definitely comment below if you can't. So what we have are a spreadsheet in Google Sheets, and then I have a document in Google Docs. This is all in Google Drive. You just go to drive.google.com. If you have a Gmail account, you already have this. If you just log in and visit it. And I have posted the links in the comments on this description for this video. I'll post them below too. And what we have here, I'm gonna just move my screen so I can actually see what I'm looking at. We'll start on the right, actually. We'll start with the patient health log. So when your family member starts to become ill, it's really important. And I think even doing this as a diary right now for this very, historical time in our lives is documenting what is happening day by day, especially if you start noticing you're having signs of fatigue, shortness of breath, fevers, flu-like symptoms, any of those things. Start documenting them now, because what this does is it helps provide historical data. You're not going to remember almost like 99% of what did happen just even 2 days ago. So it's really nice to have this document. Of course, you could write it down. The reason why I love Drive is that you can then share the document with people who are going to be on your care team, or you can pass it on when, unfortunately, if you go to the hospital, you're no longer going to be entering your own data. So someone can enter it for you. And what we have is just a simple table. And I have a link to the lab results, which you see over here in this window. And I just put in the date, and these are just dummy content. And you just enter in your vitals and whatever you have. If you have an oximeter, you note your percentage and maybe blood pulse. And then you just keep doing that day by day, because what ends up happening is that as you have a loved one in the hospital, hopefully the hospital has enough staff and time to give you a daily report to at least some degree, either via email, voice, or something, to let you know how your loved one is doing. And then while they're on the phone, you just say, hey, can you pause for just 1 second? You pull up this document and you type it as they talk, if you can. If you can't, you write it down and then you just transcribe it back in. That way you can go back through it and note what is the progress. Now, you could just do this document and you'd be fine, right? You could put it all, as long as you're putting all the data. The nice part about using a spreadsheet, especially when you don't have to create it yourself, this took me like a few hours to build, is that you can start to graph the numbers and actually get more that we're visual people. Not all of us are number junkies. And we really like pictures, and graphs are great to see what trends are. So let's jump over to that. And of course I put a little link from there to this document. So now we are in here where we got the patient lab results. And again, depending on your hospital or care provider for this person who is the patient, you can either log in and access medical records. And I have access to daily logs when I'm logged in through my father's portal. And so I can see in the morning what his lab results are. And I just go through, and one of his care advisors, who's been really amazing, has given me the kind of top, 6 or 5 things that are lab results. So that's the C-reactive protein. That's lactate dehydrogenase, the fibrin dimer plasma. Of course, I'm going to butcher these words. You have creatinine. You have liver function panel, which they didn't recommend, but I put it up there anyway, since liver function can sometimes show how you're responding to meds and everything. And then I added his temperature and a ventilator settings. So these are all things that, and again, all this data here is just dummy data that I extrapolated semi from what my father's experiencing since he's been intubated, but these are not his results or his numbers. So you would clear out all these numbers in these rows and enter in your own numbers for your loved one or patient. And what I wanted to show you is how to create a new graph when you're in here. So as long as you're only touching really these numbers and editing obviously the dates that are there and when the person's intubated. And I've also put little comments on each of these so you can see how it works. Like for this intubation, and let's say my father is still intubated tomorrow, I would select these two and then I would click merge, and I just extend that intubated period. That's all I'm doing right there. And let's go down here. So I added this ventilator settings because we only started recently, really as of the 5th, I started having some type of historical data on it. And this just shows you how much oxygen is being needed to support him. So that means he's getting enough oxygen on his own. And so the machine has to work less, thereby hopefully they can wean him off the machine once it reaches a certain point, which I want to say is 8%. I'm not sure. I'm not a medical professional. And what we're going to do is create our own graph of the oxygen levels. I also put other things that you could do if you wanted to add any of the other data points. I was just using O2 since that's the one they seem to tell me the most. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this creatinine, click on the title. Now you can double click on the labels and rename them easily that way. And you'll see the chart editor pops up right here. So I'm just gonna copy and paste, and then I'm gonna grab that, and I'm gonna move it down and space it so I know that they're not linked. So I create the creatinine, however you say it, together. And so this one is gonna get my, the chart style. I throw on the border that is the main headline bar. That way I can just kind of quickly know that it's related to that. Double click this and it's gonna be ventilator settings. And then I'm going to copy that value, and then I put the value in there. So I put the percentage in there. Now I have to double click the chart, and I put some instructions on how to use this here. Double click the chart, and then I want to go to setup, and you'll see that it says series right here. That's the column B11. So it's currently pulling the series from right here, the glomerular filtration rate. We need to make it B19 and M19. So I just double click, change that last one to a 9. There we go, and hit OK. And now you'll see that because I also made these percentages, which you'd just come up here and click percentage and then get it to, so it's actually a percentage, not 4,000% if you had 40 in there. You'll see that it's showing what the oxygen rate has been. So there's a decrease and there's a slight uptick. And that way you can tell that there's a downward trend, which is what I also included with these. And that's all under customize. I believe it's under just kind of legend or chart style, smooth. And then I believe it's horizontal axis, or I can't remember where it's at, series. There we go. Trend line. That's where you click it. And you can set all these things. I just let them be mostly the default. And so now we have the ventilator settings for your patient right here on the chart, which is excellent because now you can quickly glance at this. You don't even have to look at the numbers. Someone else can come in and you can share it with them. And now you have an opportunity to get a fast glance. Because the reason why I was actually tasked with this of someone saying like, get this all in one place. And I went, oh, what is going to be the most easy and over time thing for me? And so just today, I went in on his records. I looked up all the ones that are the main ones, which of course are not like, these are all the other labs that my father is also being watched for. And I think this one is just kind of like a repeat of that. So I could actually cut those and let's see, let's put them there. And this one we already know is already up there. So I'm gonna copy that, cut that, and we're gonna paste it there. There we go. So those are all the other labs that you may have for your patient or your loved one. And then you can easily just kind of figure it out, copy, paste, go through and deal with adding more of them. But this is what I've been told is what we want to be watching out for. And then you just click your little graph and have alignments so you can move them around. And I'll just kind of move them around again, because again, this is for everyone to have access to. That is what I've created. So between this log, this patient name, lab records, you have a great opportunity to be able to feel like you're empowered, that you have awareness around what is going on with the person who you're monitoring, and data is all in one place. You know, when I had to click on each of my father's things, it was going, okay, no, need past historicals. Okay, now I gotta go back. Oh, wait, went back too far. Okay, now I go here. And it's just a lot of clicking and wasting time. So hopefully this is of use for everyone who is suffering. Obviously, not everyone has these resources, or you're bombarded, or you're black and brown and being disproportionately affected and impacted by COVID-19. So I really encourage this to be a time where we really hold our politicians and ourselves and our government and our way of life accountable for sharing the burden, because it is being disproportionately placed on people who are poor. Most of the time, that is someone of a minority background, black, brown, etc., where they still have to go to work. They are still part of an essential job. They're on literally the front lines of working at grocery stores or other places, getting paid usually minimum wage or less, or just a little bit above, and putting their lives at risk. They don't have cars, they don't have homes. They're usually living on top of each other, either in one house or they live in an apartment surrounded by many more people. So social distancing, physical distancing is really difficult. They rely on mass transit to get around. So we have to understand and appreciate the brunt of suffering that is happening for our brothers and sisters and siblings in this country who cannot have the luxury of working from home and having a home that has space and having support networks and a non-history of being oppressed and marginalized. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please send everyone love and high vibes to get through this, and definitely hold power and ignorance accountable. Thank you.